The episode before this one was Junie John's teacher pants, right? So I read you until chapter 2. So today I'm going to read you until chapter 5, okay? Chapter 3, Twitching. Finally, we got to the row right next to mine. That's where Jules and Lenny sit. When Jules' turn came, he smelled very proud. He said on Saturday his daddy bought him brand new soccer shoes, and he wore them to his soccer game, and he kicked the winning goalie with those things. Lenny went next. He said he got brand new hair gel. Plus also he got a thickening cream. A thickening cream can make even the thickest hair feel rich and full, he said. Whoa, I said. Whoa, said Herb and Rose. Whoa is what we say to be supportive. May sits behind Lenny. She stood up and she read her paper real loud. This weekend, one thing I did for fun was, on Saturday, I made a pot in my pottery class. And after that, I was punctual to my ballet class. And the teacher said I danced like a gazelle. Mr. Scary did a chuckle. A gazelle, huh? He said. A gazelle is a very graceful animal, isn't it? Yes, said May. Would you like to see me do a few steps? After that, she ran to the front of the room, and she started to ballet. But Mr. Scary said to please sit down again. As soon as she got back, I jumped right up. My turn, I said, real thrilled. I tapped on my chin. Well, okay, let's see now. On Saturday, my grandma, Frank Miller, came to babysit me, and he let me roller skate in the house. Plus also, he lets me jump on Mother's bouncy bed. Only pretty soon, I got very pooped. And so I ran into the kitchen, and I drank chocolate milk right out of the carton. Without even a glass, Whoa, said Herb. Whoa, said Lenny and Jules. Mr. Scary raised his hand to interrupt me. Excuse me, Junie B, he said. It sounded like you had a great time on Saturday, but I'm wondering why you're not reading from your homework paper. Just then my heart got poundy right nervous, 'cause I should have thought about that problem. I swallowed real hard. Well, let's see, I said kind of quiet. Why aren't they reading? She could say she lost her homework paper and then she just put it on the wrote it on the other paper, I think. Mr. Scary smiled. It's all right, he said. You can start over. Just take out your paper and read us what you wrote. After that, I stood there very frozen, and I couldn't even move. Mr. Scary crossed his arm at me. You do have a homework paper, don't you, Junie B? He asked next. I stood there a little while longer. Then finally I reached into my desk, and I pulled out the homework I copied from May. I waved it in the air kind of freakish. Here it is, I said. Here's my homework paper. See it? It's right here. Mr. Scary nodded. Yes, good. Now, could you read it for us, please? He asked. I took a deep breath. Then I looked down at my paper, and I read it instantly. To just myself. Okay, done, I said. After that, I quick sat down, and I stuffed the paper back in my desk. Mr. Scary came back to where I sit. He said, could he please see my paper? I felt shaky and stickish inside. Very slow, I took out my paper again. Then I handed it over. After he read it, he shook his head. Then he took my hand, and when he walked me into the hall, it seems that you and May have very similar weekends, doesn't it, Junie B? He said. I did a gulp. Yes, I said, it does. Mr. Scary read my paper once more. So you took a pottery class, did you? He said. I rocked back and forth on my feet. Yup, I do, I said. I take a pottery class, and I make a little, pot. Mr. Scary breathed real deep. And let's see, you take a ballet class too, huh? He said. And gee, what a coincidence. On Saturday, your teacher said you danced like a gazelle, I said very fast. Gazelle, said Mr. Scary. Whatever, I said. My teacher stuck his cheeks and looked at the paper again. And you were political too, she said. That's amazing, isn't it? He looked up at him. I looked up at him. Well, if you get an early start, I said real soft. Mr. Scary bent down next to me. His face was not jolly. Junie B. Jones, do you have any idea how disappointed I am in you right now? Just then, tears came in my eyes, and I didn't even expect that trouble. I hanged my head so he couldn't see. Sorry, I said. Sorry you're disappointed. Mr. Scary took a big breath. He said we would talk more at recess. Then he gave me a tissue from his pocket, and I wiped my tears. After that, we went back into the room. I sat down at my desk very slumping, 'cause what do you know? I didn't look out after all. Chapter 4, Teacher Pants. It's still dump Monday, dear first grade journal. Right now it is recess. I am not playing on the playground. Instead, I am sitting at my desk and I'm waiting to get yelled at. I wish I could disappear into thin air. If I could disappear, I would run outside and I would find May and I would clunk her on the head. I wish I didn't even sit next to that girl, 'cause people should never leave homework on their desk for other people to borrow. That is just asking for trouble, mister. From Junie B., first grader. Mr. Scary was writing at his desk. He looked up and called my name. Junie B., he said, I'm ready for you now. Can you bring your chair up here, please? My stomach flipped and flopped because here came the yelling part, that's why. And my stomach flipped and flopped like it is very same as you cook and you cook under and then you cook on the food. So you flip and then flop. Then I pulled my chair to the front of the room and I sat down next to him. Mr. Scary took my homework paper out of his drawer. He set it in front of me very serious. I want you to explain this, Junie B., he says. I want you to tell me exactly why you copied May's homework this morning. I tried to swallow, but nothing went down. Well, let's see. The reason I copied was I tapped on my chin. Then all of a sudden, I thought of it. Daddy, I said. It was my daddy's fault. My teacher looked surprised at the answer. Your daddy, he said. Your daddy told to copy May's homework? Yes, I said. No. Last night I wanted to stay up late to do my homework, but Daddy turned out my light, and so He is the reason that I had to come to school without it. Ooh, I see, said my teacher. Your daddy wouldn't let you stay up, so that's what forced you to copy Smith's paper. I nodded real fast. Yes, I said, that's exactly it. Mr. Scary raised his eyebrows. So did May actually give you her paper to copy? He asked next. I rolled my eyes at that crazy question. No, silly. May would never be that nice, I said. Saying no, silly to your teacher is very not nice, so don't follow that thing. It's just that this morning she kept on bragging how her homework is always on A+. And then she felt the paper on top of her desk when she went to the office. And that is just asking for trouble. Trouble, mister. Mr. Scary leaned back in his chair. Ah, he said. So when May left for the office, you saw her paper and you just decided to borrow it. I said, I decided to borrow it to copy. My teacher did a frown. Borrow, he said. No, Junie B, I'm sorry, but borrow is not the right word here at all. When you copy someone else's paper, that's called cheating. My eyes got big and shocked at that word, 'cause what was even talking about? No, Mr. Scary, no, I didn't cheat. I didn't, I said. Cheating is when you steal answers off from someone's test. But homework isn't a test. Homework doesn't even count, hardly. Oh, but homework does count, Junie B, he stepped back. Cheating is not just about stealing test answers. Cheating is any time you take someone else's work and you present it as your own. He looked at me. When you cheated this morning, you broke my trust in you, Junie B, he said. You have a rule about this in room 1. We kept our eyes on our own papers. You've heard me say that 100 times, I bet. I felt surprised at that information. That's a rule, I said. No kidding. I always thought that was, well, just a suggestion. Mr. Scary rolled his eyes. No, Junie B, it's not a suggestion. It's definitely a rule, he said, and it's an important rule too. I drummed my fingers on the desk. Well, I'll be drained, I said. After a while, I did a big breath. I'm sorry, I said real soft. Mr. Scary smiled a little bit. I'm sorry too, Junie B, she said. But at least now I think we understand each other better. I'll not put up with teachers in my classroom. I didn't wince. Yeah, only I wish you wouldn't keep saying that cheater word, I said, 'cause I don't even know I was cheating hardly. Plus, I don't like cheaters either, Mr. Scary, on account of my daddy cheating me an old maid last week, and I am still not over the terrible experiments. Mr. Scary wrinked his eyebrows. Your daddy cheated? He asked. I did a sigh. Yes, I said. Yes, I said. Daddy raised the old maid high in his hand so I would pick her. Then I did. And so what kind of sneaky trick was that? Mr. Scary covered his mouth. He was shocked, I believe. I leaned closer to him. And Daddy is not the only cheater pants in my family either, I said very quiet. An comment of Grandma Frank Miller is supposed to be on a diet, but yesterday my grandma found an empty pie pan in his closet, and that was a little bit of crust and plastic fork. I thought for a second, no wonder I cheated, I said. Cheating is in my blood, apparently. Mr. Scary did a chuckle. Well, nobody's perfect, he said. Everyone cheats on a diet once in a while, I think. But cheating at school is very different matter, Junie B. Cheating in school is serious business. Are we clear on that now? I nodded real fast. Clear, I said. After that, both of us shook hands, and Mr. Scary carried my chair back to my desk. After I sat down, he took an envelope out of his pocket, and he handed it to me. I wrote the notes to your parents explaining what happened this morning, he said. I would like them to read it and sign it, okay? You can bring it back to me in the morning. I did a gasp at the thing. No, Mr. Scary, not okay, I said. Please don't make me take a note home. Please, I really don't want to take a note. Mr. Scary thought for a second. Then he took the note back. Well, okay, he said. If you feel that strongly, I won't make you take it. He started walking back to his desk. I'll just call them tonight instead, he said. I did a loud groan. 'Cause what kind of dumb choice is that? I stumped to his desk and I grabbed back the note. Then I stuffed it into my backpack and I sat down on my desk. And I wrote in my journal one more time. Mr. Scary is a tattletale. So that is today for it. Next time I'm going to read you until chapter 7. Good luck. Bye.